Rapper JayZ has agreed to partner with the National Football League to promote social justice initiatives and expand entertainment options. But many see the move as a betrayal of former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick. The billionaire has previously supported Cap by wearing his jersey and refusing to play the halftime Super Bowl show. Several players have responded to JayZ's move, including Carolina Panthers safety Eric Reid, who called JayZ a sellout. But the rapper argues it's time to move on from kneeling by taking real actions. Breaking this down is the City Lab staff writer who wrote The Roots of JayZ's Black Capitalism, Brentin Mock. Brentin, let's start with just this deal in general. What's JayZ getting out of this deal with the NFL? We know he's not hurting for money right now.
Yeah, it's not clear what JayZ is getting out of the deal. The plan was to allow him to provide programming along social justice and entertainment lines for the NFL. However, he doesn't really need the NFL to have that kind of platform. I mean, he does pretty well on his own, not to mention being married to Beyonce and just the platform alone that is.
So why not take him at his word that this is about getting past the kneeling and back to what the actual issue is here, the social justice issues, and to get away from this kneeling now?
I think all we can do is take him at his word. What he plans to do with this new partnership with the NFL remains to be seen. What it means, whether it's just, literally Super Bowl entertainment, or if what it is doing, as a lot of people are concerned about, is if it's erasing or even obscuring more meaningful reforms that other activists have been trying to implement in the NFL, both on and off the field, in terms of social justice.
Yeah, we've seen the Players Coalition as one group. I know I've done a lot of stories with them in documenting some of the work that they've done in being able to pass legislation. And their point was to get past the kneeling, get back to the issues at hand. They've faced some backlash also. Is there any way for the groups to come together and get beyond the backlash that JayZ is now facing and these other groups and get Kaepernick and Reid and others on board?
I think that there is a way for them to get together, possibly. I think it's just a matter of, there being some kind of common ground where they can meet and talk about, what the stakes are. But I think many of people feel slighted that JayZ did not, it doesn't appear that JayZ consulted with Colin Kaepernick or some of the other people who are part of Colin Kaepernick's movement.
Yeah, there's one report I think Jamel Hill had that there was a conversation, but it did not go well between the two of them. I want to get to your piece a little bit more here. In your piece, you outline why creating wealth as a method for gaining freedom for Black Americans doesn't work, and there's historic evidence of some of this. Why has the method failed so far, and I guess maybe that's something to point to in the future for JayZ?
So you got to go back to the 1970s, the early 70s, late 1960s to kind of look at the roots of this kind of Black capitalism, Black capitalism solution to civil rights. As a strategy, you had leaders of a group called CORE, Roy Ennis and Floyd McKissick, who, after Martin Luther King was assassinated, basically said something similar to what JayZ said, which is, no more marching, no more appealing to the goodness of white people. We need to go out and basically make money and try to bring as much money to Black communities as possible. The problem is that in order to deal with capital and money, you have to deal with the same banks and financial system that had already been disenfranchising African Americans for decades. And so when they tried to kind of capitalize on this strategy and work with the banks, they encountered the same discrimination, and they were never able to capitalize in the way that they needed to in order to get the kind of liberation and civil rights outcomes that they were looking to get.
Do you think that times have changed? Someone like JayZ working from the inside and perhaps other prominent and wealthy African Americans can help change some of that now?
Well, we definitely have more African American millionaires and billionaires than we did in the 70s, African American millionaires and billionaires than we did in the 70s. But, it remains to be seen whether we can kind of, get rich or die trying our way out of racism. At certain point, you have to deal with those who have been in control of the modes of reproduction and the modes of finance and the modes of capital. And unfortunately, a lot of those people are white. A lot of those people are, have been the very people who have denied African Americans access to the kind of capital that they need to address racial equity gaps. Not everybody, I mean, African Americans aren't going to be able to get away with gaming the financial system the way that, say, Donald Trump has, to be able to keep failing and bankrupting and then keep bouncing back. For a lot of African Americans, you bankrupt once, you fail financially once, and then that's it. There's no safety net.
Getting back to the partnership here with JayZ and the NFL, obviously the NFL has such a huge platform. For the NFL to sort of rectify what they did with Colin Kaepernick and maybe JayZ and the Kaepernick side to come together, does the NFL have to bring Colin Kaepernick back into a quarterback position, something that does not seem likely the further removed we are from it?
At the core of this, everyone needs to feel confidence that that anyone as basically that an African American who is a player in the NFL can make a political stance on racial justice and have their freedom of speech protected and have their constitutional rights protected to still be able to play in the NFL. So I don't think that this is going to be able to move forward. No, unless Kaepernick is able to get his job back, because that message, that chilling message, is still out there.
Despite the fact
to all future and present NFL players, that if you try to make a stand on racial justice, it is possible that you can be kicked out of the NFL.
You said it's possible, because I was going to say there are players who continued to kneel even after Kaepernick was out of the league and have continued to kneel or have signs to show protest that are playing in the league.
There are still a few. Eric Reed, the safety for Carolina Panthers, is one of them. But Colin Kaepernick has been the leader of this movement. He was the person who started it. And so if there's still kind of a message out there that we're going to try to decapitate, the head of this movement, and we'll tolerate a few other people. But if anybody else gets any big, bright ideas about this, just remember what we did to Colin Kaepernick.
You know, in looking at all of this going on with Kaepernick, the idea that there is a platform for players is what the Players Coalition has used from within. And they have teamed up in the way that JayZ is teaming up. Is it fair to say that they're wrong to do it, or they are getting things done?
The players movement?
Yeah, the Players Coalition. Because I guess what I'm thinking is if people are against this idea of JayZ teaming up, the Players Coalition has also gotten money from the NFL for their causes. Are there two ways to do this, I guess? Can you have the Kaepernick movement and can you also have this other movement and live together?
Yes, there's multiple ways to do this, and the message should not be that pursuing getting money and resources to implement a social justice program is wrong or bad. You need money and capital to do anything. I think fundamentally what we're looking at is the move or the maneuver that JayZ just did, is that obscuring or in some ways canceling out the groundwork, the activists within Colin Kaepernick's movement, are they being canceled out by this maneuver, or even by the maneuver of what the Players Coalition is doing? And also, secondly, the NFL has to come out and say, as far as I'm concerned, yes, you can still make a political statement on racial justice or gender justice or any kind of political statement, and you will not be penalized or punished by this. And the NFL still has not made that kind of statement. So to kind of throw around money at various coalitions and organizations and hoping that this will go away, I don't think that's going to be a solution to anything.
Brentin, a much better answer than what my question was. Thank you for getting us there. Brentin Mock, we appreciate the time.
Thank you.